Hey, how's it going? It's David from Wisdom Square, and today we're going to talk about what might be your favorite thing to drink, which is coffee. So, what's so bad about coffee? People have different opinions on it, and I just want to share a little story about a friend of mine. Recently, he was told by his doctor that he had to stop drinking coffee, and the reason was because he was up to 6 cups a day or more, and it was too much caffeine for him. He would end up having these really like weak spells, and his immune system was really bad. He was getting sick pretty often. So the recommended advice was for him to then instead drink decaffeinated coffee. But here's my opinion on it. You see, if you study coffee, there's actually two things that really make it unhealthy for us, right? The first thing is, do you actually know where coffee comes from originally? If you guess that it's from the country Brazil, that would be a common answer and would make sense because that's actually the number one country that exports coffee, but that's not where it originates from, and it's not Colombian coffee either. It's not South America at all. It actually originates from Africa, and more specifically from Ethiopia. And the other thing is, it's actual different species that original coffee from Ethiopia is than the coffee that we commonly drink, at a Starbucks. And the species that originates in Africa is called Robusta. The common coffee that we drink is called Arabica coffee. And it's a different species. It's less bitter, the coffee that we drink commonly. But the thing is, the original Robusta coffee is actually much healthier for us to drink. And it has a lot more nutrition if it comes from the original source, from Africa, from its natural habitat. It's filled with a lot more minerals. So you're not drinking something that's empty. And the other thing is, not only that, but when we drink coffee, it's already pre-roasted, right? So it was likely roasted months in advance before we even get to, drink a cup of it. And the trouble with that is once you begin to roast the beans, or really the seeds, it begins to oxidize. So it begins to go bad and go rancid, and even mold can start to develop on it. And there's even a whole documentary about this and, how it affects our emotions and our ability to think even. So really, I would see that as like even the bigger problem. So what's a way around this? How can you, make coffee a lot healthier? Number one, I would say try to roast green coffee beans, the green before you, before the roast it, and then they turn brown. But try to, buy green coffee beans and then just roast them at home. And you don't need a expensive, roasting machine that costs an arm and a leg. If you have an oven, that's really all you need, right? Set the temperature to 500 degrees, put it into the oven. It only takes, maybe 5 to 7 minutes before you hear it crack. That lets you know that it's, a light roast. That's what you would consider it. Then you would hear a second crack a few minutes later. Wait like 60 seconds. Then you could turn it off the oven, take it out, allow it to, cool off. And that's, right there, roasted coffee, fresh. And the biggest difference with it is you're going to notice the taste. It tastes a lot better, and because it tastes better, it's likely you won't have to dump sugar into it, because that's another big reason why, coffee is so bad for us. The milk and cream, the milk and sugar. Same thing with even chocolate, chocolate by itself, the cacao bean, is not necessarily bad for us. It's when you add in processed sugar and milk. Milk chocolate, for example, versus dark chocolate that they say, everybody says is high in antioxidants. It's the exact same thing with coffee. Coffee is also high in antioxidants and minerals, but it's, you add in the milk and sugar, you pre-roast it, so, you drink it months later. In reality, after you roast it, you should really have it at like within the first week or within the first 5 days. That's when the flavor is going to be the strongest and the nutrition is going to be the best for it. after that, then it begins to degrade. In the same way, if you buy anything and leave it out, it starts to go bad. And that's what makes it bad for us then. And again, the fact that coffee originates from Africa, that's its natural habitat. Once you take something out of its natural habitat, it is not going to be the same. It's not going to have the same nutrition for us. So, and the fact that it's a complete different species that most of us drink, it is a hybrid species made by farmers. It's a man-made species that was like selectively bred to remove some of the bitterness from the coffee bean. But, that also removes some of the nutrition from it as well. In reality, it's bitter food that is actually some of the best things for our digestion. So, it modified, pre-roasted, milk, sugar and milk. Those are the reasons why really coffee is unhealthy, and how you can instead, make it healthy and something good for you to drink. Again, if you want to just completely avoid coffee, but you struggle with energy, there's an alternative to that as well. And what I would recommend is iron. The mineral iron is what gives us energy. And the best way to get that, one of the highest plants in iron, is sauce sarsaparilla root. And you could just make a tea out of it. It actually tastes good because sauce sarsaparilla root is what inspired the flavor of today's root beer soda. So if you think about it, it's going to taste pretty good and be a lot healthier for you. So those are some things to consider. I hope something in here helped you and you found it useful. If you did, please like the video, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts, and help me out by sharing this video with somebody that you might that might benefit from it. Thanks again. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.